Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. I literally haven't done a video in so long, but I thought I'd start off and come back with something new and something fun just to get integrated back into what I used to be doing. I thought let me just go up to my upstairs terrace area to film a video, but I did not take into consideration the sounds that are out here. The honking horns, the crowing roosters, people doing construction, kids playing and laughing. There's a lot of outside noise, and I just don't know how much is going to come back on the video, on the audio. If I have to refilm again, I will. But I just wanted to get started, and I thought I'd just jump right on in. So I thought I would do what I saw there was a trend going on TikTok, at least, that I saw, that it was oh, things in my UK apartment that would send Americans spiraling or send Americans into a coma or something like that. I just thought I'd do that, but the Vietnamese version, because there were a lot of things that I experienced that were technically culture shock, and that when I first experienced them, I was like, wait a minute, whoa, because I had lived in Southeast Asia before, but Vietnam and Thailand are completely different in many ways, but they're also very similar in many ways as well. But I'm going to be talking about the things in Vietnam that I think would send an American or a Westerner in general spiraling if they experience these things. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is actually how I introed the video in the first place. The amount of sound that goes on, and I think any city has a lot of sound, but I think Vietnam takes it to a whole nother level sometimes. So when you're in the car or if you're on a motorbike, they communicate with honking. So honking horns is it's the way to go. If you are crossing an intersection, honk your horn so people know you're coming through the intersection. If you're passing somebody on their left side, honk your horn so they know that you're about to pass them. So there's all sorts of reasons why they honk, but they sure do use that horn. Whereas in the US, for example, if you honk your horn at somebody, it's because you've done something offensive, or somebody's trying to get your attention, oh, you're veering into my lane or something. That's usually the reason why somebody will honk, or to be rude about it and be you, okay? That's usually why people honk. So when you experience it in another country, it's kind of overwhelming the amount of times that they honk. One country that I think might have Vietnam beat on the honking is Egypt. When I was in Cairo, the honking was nonstop. It felt like my driver was hand on the horn the entire time we're driving. Don't even take it off, you're just gonna honk again. Honestly, after a while you kind of just drown it out. But there's certain drivers here in Vietnam where I'm okay, they're honking a lot, but that's just the way that they learn how to navigate the streets. And sometimes you do need those horns because the traffic is a bit crazy sometimes. Going along with the theme of volume and noises, I think we have to address the stereo in the room. Let's talk about karaoke. Here in Vietnam, karaoke is a big part of the culture. And it's not just oh, we're doing karaoke in our house and we just love doing karaoke. It's neighborhood karaoke. So when they do karaoke, they have the TV screen, they pull it out, they pull the stereo out. But the stereo is not facing the house that is doing karaoke. The stereo is facing the neighborhood, because everyone needs to hear what song we're singing and how well we're singing it, or how poorly we're singing it. But everyone needs to hear it. I'm really grateful that my neighbors don't sing karaoke as much as I've heard other people's neighbors sing karaoke. My neighbors will do it maybe 4 times since I've lived here, and I've been here for over 7 months, so it's not that bad. And my mom and I just go to a cafe, and they usually stop at around 10 p.m., maybe 11 p.m. Whereas I've heard other people talk about oh yeah, my neighbors go till 3 in the morning. 3 in the morning? Absolutely not. On top of karaoke, if you're walking down the street, a lot of stores, clothing stores, will be playing music outside of their store. There'll be a speaker playing music outside, and it'll be quite loud. So the streets itself are very lively and very loud. But I don't want this to discourage anybody who has sound sensitivity. It's any major city really, but there's a lot of music, there's a lot of karaoke, there's a lot of sound. The karaoke can be overwhelming sometimes when it's right next door and it's been going on from 2 p.m. till 11 p.m. But just go to the cafe, just relax a little bit, and then come home, enjoy the last couple hours of music, and that's that on that. Another thing that I found that was like kind of not shocking to me, but it was a bit like, oh, okay, all right, is that when you go out to eat here, they like open the door, they let you in, they seat you and everything. And the first thing about the restaurant culture here is they'll like usually give you one menu. Even if it's a table of four, we've often been given just one menu. And so we'll have to ask for another menu so like multiple people can look at once. But I think that that was pretty interesting. They probably just want to save the other menus for if other tables come in. But sometimes it's like only two tables in here and you're giving me one menu. I'm like, come on. But if you ask for another menu, they'll give you one easily. But here's the other thing that I was like, all right, this is new. When you like when you're in a restaurant and they seat you, they hand you the menu, the waiter will sometimes just wait there and they'll just stand there at your table for however long it takes for you to get your order together. And now I don't speak Vietnamese, so like I will sometimes have to take my translator and say like, oh, I just need a couple of minutes. And even then, sometimes they just are like, okay, and then they just stand there and wait. So it can get a little bit awkward if you're not used to that. In the US or in other countries, they'll give you your menu, they'll seat you, they'll go away for 5 minutes, and they'll come back. I've even worked in the restaurant industry. I've been a waitress myself. So I know how awkward it can even be for like the waitress to like stand there and wait, because I've waited for people who were like, oh, they say they're ready for their order, and then I'm just like waiting, and they're still looking at the menu as they said they were ready. I was like, okay, all right. So it can be awkward. I don't know what they're building, but they are hammering away. Definitely in Vietnamese restaurants, they'll wait around for your order, which I mean, like, incredible customer service, but babe, you really don't have to, because I have no idea how to read this menu and I need to translate everything. Another thing that I found in Vietnam specifically was that people are a lot more comfortable with their feet here. And by that, I mean, like, if you like go out to a restaurant that's like on the street, or if you're at like a cafe that's kind of like open air a bit, if you look under the table, you'll see lots of people that have their shoes kicked off, their feet are up on the chair. Even in like a Highlands Coffee, for example, that's like a chain cafe, I've seen people with their shoes kicked off and their feet are like on the chair in Highlands Coffee. Whereas like you're less likely to see that in like a Starbucks in the US or in the West. Like taking your shoes off is more of like a comfort that you have at like home or at a friend's house in the West. But like here, kick your shoes off, kick back, relax. Just pay attention to the feet. It doesn't bother me in any way. I don't think it like goes past like discomfort, like, oh, people's feet are on the table. And I think this is also different because like in Thailand, like the feet are like a no-no in terms of like putting them places and, you know, your feet facing people. It's like there's a lot of rules regarding the feet and like the hierarchy of the body. The feet stay on the ground, the feet are like dirty, the feet are like no good. Whereas here, it's just a lot more free with the feet. Shoes off, feet on the chair, feet kicked up. It's normal. And okay, I accept it. Another thing is personal space. Personal space is different all over the world. It's not like a social standard that's just like common amongst cultures. None of these things are common amongst all cultures, but the personal space might be like something that really sends people spiraling. I've been in line at grocery stores and like I'm like, this man is like breathing on the back of my neck. On my neck. Can you back it up, please? Sometimes I feel like people are closer to me because they want to get a better look at me because like I am a foreigner, or they want to like see what groceries I'm buying. I've had people look at my bag, all kinds of stuff. Some people I feel like stay away because I'm a foreigner, like they'll like be shy to like approach me. But I think that like in the grand scheme of things, like personal space is not that big of a deal. I think because when you're in like a crowded city, if you're in Saigon or if you're in Hanoi and you're just trying to pass on the sidewalk, there's no time to be like, oh, let me go around. I'm cutting through this group of people. It's whatever. And when you have a communal sort of society like that, it's not that big of a deal to be close to somebody. It can be a lot sometimes when you're in like a grocery store, if you're at the airport and you know, people are just on you and they don't think anything of it. It can be overwhelming, but I've kind of grown accustomed to it. Like, they don't mean any harm. But yeah, personal space is definitely different here. I think one of the last things I want to bring up that I think will send Westerners or Americans spiraling would definitely be that, like, when you're standing in line for something, the line sometimes feels like a mere suggestion. And when I'm talking about line, I'm talking about queuing. It seems like a suggestion. I've been cut in line a number of times here in Vietnam. I've been cut at the airport, like passport security checking. Like, this woman literally just got right in front of me. I'm handing the guy my passport and she gets in front of me and puts her card there. And the thing is, it's not even like a conversation of like, I'm running late for my plane, can I please get up here? It's just cut in line. And like, here's my thing. Sometimes I just like let it happen because like it'll be like one person in front of me and then like somebody will cut that person and like they just let it happen. And I don't know if it's because like, oh, this person is my elder, so I'll let them cut in front of me. But I'm sorry, but like, and then I think also if they only have like one or two items, they think, oh, I'm just gonna cut in front of them because it's gonna be quicker for me to get my 2 items in than their like basket of 5 or 6 items. And I'm like, quite frankly, I don't care, because if I've been standing in this line for 5 to 10 minutes, like, you can wait for your 2 items. Like, it's gonna be okay. If it's an older lady, I'll let it slide. But if it's like a man who just wants to get out of here, I'm sorry, I'm not letting you cut. Women's rights. I don't quite get it, and I don't know the motivation behind it every time. And I wish more than anything it was just like, hey, can I get in front of you? I only have 2 items. I might still say no, but it's the fact that there's no conversation. And I've seen other people get cut. It's not a conversation. It's, I'm cutting. And they just put their stuff in front of you. I'm just gonna put my passport in front of you. The amount of times that this has happened at the airport was really like wild to me. But what I will say is that when it happened at the airport the first time to me, like the old lady just like put her ID card in front of my passport to the guy, he literally was like, go to the end of the line, and she was like going back and forth with him. He literally took her ID, put it back at the end of the line, and took her back to the end of the line. I was like, okay, sir, put your foot down. Hope she didn't miss her flight. And the thing that irritates me more than anything is like when the guy who will cut in line with his 2 items gets his bread, gets his drink or whatever, and after he gets out of line, he's like waiting. He's standing around. You had nowhere to go. You had nothing to do. You weren't in a rush. You weren't in a hurry. You just felt like cutting. That's what irritates my soul more than anything. And it does send me spiraling to this day. And like, you can tell when people want to cut too. The way I make sure my cart is, my little wagon or whatever that I have my groceries in, is wide enough, and I'm standing in the way, like, no, you're not cutting in front of me. And like, they'll try and push their way through, but I'm like, no, sorry. And you can't speak to me in Vietnamese because I don't understand. I'm sorry. I don't know what you're saying. You know, you cannot cut in front of me, because there'll be somebody in front of me already. Like, you can't cut me and you can't cut her. We're in this together. When we locked in, ain't no cutting up. I think those are the things that have sent me spiraling. They've definitely sent me spiraling, and I think they might send you spiraling. But all in all, my experience in Vietnam has honestly been amazing. The country is beautiful. The people are so nice. And there's so many things that are in my culture and that are like socially normal to me that people here are probably like, why the heck is she doing that? Why is she being a weirdo? Why is she making me uncomfortable by asking for another menu? You know what I mean? Like, there's things that I do that I'm sure are like weird to everyone here and might send people in a spiral here, but like, all you can do is just like laugh it off. Like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do about it? When grandma cuts me, what am I actually gonna do about it? I'm not gonna fight her. I'm not gonna fight her. I'm not gonna go yell at my neighbors for playing karaoke. Somebody told me to call the police. Call the police. Call the Vietnamese police on my Vietnamese neighbors in Vietnam. The minute I call, I don't even know the number. 999-111. don't know the Vietnamese number. But the minute I call them and they're gonna be speaking to me in Vietnamese, I'm gonna be like, I don't speak Vietnamese, so how can I make this noise complaint? That's so annoying to me. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna call the police on my neighbors. And my neighbors are actually great. They are a bit nosy, but I think everybody's a bit nosy because they're like, what are the black people in our neighborhood doing? What are they up to? They'll be looking at my grocery bag like, what'd y'all buy from the market? What'd y'all get from the store? And I'm like, what if it was something y'all shouldn't see? Ever consider that? But yeah, it's normally just bread and oranges. Okay, you guys, I'm hungry. I'm gonna go. I hope the video turned out fine. I hope the sound turned out good. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed filming it, and I hope to see you guys soon. And I hope I can be consistent with my YouTube videos because I want to be consistent. I really just had to clear out some storage off my phone because it was full up. It was full up vibe. But yeah, that's the end of my video. And like, comment, subscribe. Do people still say that? Something in the description. I don't know. I'll see you guys later. Bye.